Some people would argue, hey, we should focus on computational thinking. This will help us be able to think as a computer scientist to be able to communicate with AI, who will then generate programs or code for us. I've been very critical of computational thinking. I think we should instead focus on computational literacies, which is discussed in episode 111 titled A Reevaluation of Computational Thinking in K-12 Education, moving toward computational literacies. A problem that I see with the argument for computational thinking is that it is a vague collection of ideas and tools that are not unique to computing or problem solving. So if instead of writing lines of code, we are going to run some models and give it to some AI, and then ask the AI to write code based off those models, and then test their output. Aren't there other forms of thinking that would also assist with this, that are less vague? So for example, might we use the scientific method? So we would come up with a hypothesis and run some kind of an experiment to determine whether or not the generated code works as intended. Would we then need to understand how to reverse engineer where the problem is in order to fix it, if it doesn't work as intended? Or would we just keep saying, hey, computer, try it again? If we could identify a very specific problem with it, would we ask the AI to fix it, or would we have to fix it? What about a different approach? Like, what about the Socratic method? So a lot of these generative AI platforms are more conversational. So might we engage in dialogue with AI to better understand an idea or to test a hypothesis? Depending on how the AI is designed, perhaps one of these methods or approaches or frameworks, etc., might be more beneficial to think of than just saying, hey, I'm going to engage in deep composition or abstraction and problem solving, and then that's going to help me communicate with AI. Those are just two very quick examples that came to mind in terms of how we might be able to think about this. I'm sure there are even more that are much better at thinking through this. Or perhaps we need to create one, rather than just trying to crowbar some different tools into a new way of thinking. But to argue with myself, I wouldn't even necessarily call those tools as much as they are just kind of like broader concepts or labels.